Hello friends, we will see how to account for equivalent production in process costing. So we will go straight to the problem. Equivalent production, the first question. The following figures relate to a single industrial process. Opening stock in units 10,000. Material is 2,250, 25% complete. Wages 650, 50% complete. Overheads 400 for 50% complete, and the total value is 3,300. So this is the opening work in progress. This is opening WIP. Units introduced 40,000, materials 9,250, labor 4,600, overheads 3,100. During the year, 30,000 units were completed. 20,000 units remained in the process. The degree of completion of closing stock of work in progress is given to you. Materials 100%, labor 25%, overheads 25%. They are asking you to make necessary computations and prepare process account using first in, first out method and the weighted average method. So first one is, what is equivalent production? Supposing you have partly completed goods, you will convert the partly completed goods into fully completed goods. So it is a technique where partly completed goods will be converted into fully completed goods. Okay, say for example, I have say 10,000 units and they are 50% complete. They are 50% complete. So this will be expressed as fully completed goods. How do you convert it to fully completed goods? It is 50% of 10,000. So this will be equal to 5,000 fully completed goods. It's equal to 5,000 fully completed goods. So this process is what we call equivalent production. So you have opening work in progress and the completion is given to you. The percentage of completion is given to you. So how do we account it under first in, first out method? We will see now. So first of all, we will have to prepare one statement of equivalent production under first in, first out method. So here, you know what is the opening stock? Opening stock is 10,000. This is opening work in progress. But in this particular accounting year, because 75% is already complete, now you have to complete only 25%. So another 25%, if you complete, that material will become 100%. Wages 50% is done. So another 50% you still have to incur. Overheads 50% is done. That means another 50% is remaining. So in this particular accounting year, you will have to incur 25% you have to complete it in this particular period, whereas labor 50% and overheads 50%. So if you want to find out what is its equivalent production, it is 10,000 into 25%. So 10,000 into 25% is how much? It is 2,500. And what is 50% of 10,000? It is 5,000. Similarly, what is 50% of 10,000? It is 5,000. So you know what is the portion which is already completed. So work in progress, you have already seen how much is completed already in the previous accounting period. Now, how much you have to complete. So 25% more you have to incur. Do you understand? Incur expenses and you have to incur the processing cost and all to make the partly completed goods into fully completed goods. Now, the units which are introduced and completed. Now, they are saying that 30,000 units were completed. Now, remember, 10,000 units you had opening work in progress. First, you will be completing this into finished goods. So we will be following first in, first out. That means first, whatever has come in from the previous process, it's already some activity is taken we have already carried out some production activity. So this has to be first completed into finished product. Only then the units that you have introduced will be touched. Do you understand? So here they are saying during the period 20,000 units were completed. So 10,000, that is this, we will process it and complete it. And the balance 20,000, because total units which are completed is 30,000 units. So 10 plus 20 will become 30, because these are the units which are introduced in this particular accounting period and also processed and completed. Do you understand? Therefore, completed goods will be complete with respect to 100% complete with respect to material, because they are completed, they are finished goods as far as this particular process is concerned. So material equivalent production will be 20, because 100% of 20,000. Here also 100% of 20,000. Here also 100% of 20,000. Okay. Next one is you have 20,000 are still remaining in the process. That means this is your closing work in progress. Closing work in progress is 20,000 units, and you have to see what is its percentage of completion. So they have said materials 100%, labor 25%, and overheads 25%. That means in this particular accounting period, this particular period, materials you have completed 100% means here it will be 20,000 units, because 100% of 20,000. Whereas labor, they are saying 25% you have completed. That means it is 5,000, 5,000. And here also it is 25% complete, therefore 5,000. So it is 100, 25, and 25. This is your percentage of completion. Therefore, you have converted into its equivalent units. Now, this is the total input. So opening work in progress, units introduced and completed, and the closing work in progress. This 50,000 is your input, and units which are in work in progress is 10,000, introduced and completed is 20,000, and closing work in progress is 20,000. So 50,000, 50,000. If you want to calculate what is its equivalent production, material is 42,500. If you want labor, it is 30,000, and here labor overheads 30,000. So this is how you prepare the statement of equivalent production under first in, first out method. Now, the second one is to calculate what is the cost per unit. Cost per unit. So the elements of cost are materials, labor, and overheads. You must find out what is the total cost. What is the total cost that you have incurred in this particular accounting period? It is material is 9,250. Labor 4,600, and overheads 3,100. So I'll write here 9,250 is the cost, total cost. Labor is 4,600, and overheads 3,100. Now, what are the equivalent production? Equivalent production, you have already prepared one statement. Material equivalent production is 42,500. Labor, it is 30,000. And overheads, it is 30,000. So I have prepared one statement, that is a statement of cost per unit. Materials, this is the total cost that I've incurred during this particular accounting period. Labor is 4,600 and overheads 3,100. Equivalent units from the statement that I had prepared. It's 42,500 materials, labor 30,000, and overheads 30,000. What is the cost per unit? If you want to know what is the cost per unit, it is the total cost divided by the equivalent units. Cost divided by the number of units will give you what is the cost per unit. So I've calculated material cost is 0.22, labor cost is 0.15, and overheads is 0.1. So if you add this, you'll get what is the total cost per unit. So if you have introduced and completed during this particular accounting year the total cost per unit will be 0.47. Now we have to do the valuation of inventories. So inventory, we have opening work in progress, and opening work in progress we would have converted into finished goods. And there are some units which we have introduced during this particular accounting period and transferred to the next process, and the closing work in progress. So how do we do this? Valuation of inventories. First of all, opening stock, we know what is its value. Opening work in progress, you have 10,000 units and its value is 3,300. So this is the value amount that you have incurred in the past, in the previous accounting period. What is the amount? It is 3,300. This is already incurred on this 10,000 units. Right now, during this accounting period, during this particular period, what is the cost that you have incurred? You have to find out how much. So how much you have incurred, that is converting this partly finished goods into fully finished goods. You understand what are the costs that you're incurring. So first one is material. What is its equivalent production? See, during this particular year, previously 75% already completed in the past. Now in this particular accounting period, you have completed 25%, which is equal to 2,500. So materials equivalent units, you must take 2,500, whereas labor, it is 5,000. 5,000 is labor, and overheads is also 5,000. So this is what you are incurring during the current period. Okay. And per unit, what is the cost? You already know material cost is 0.22. Labor cost is 0.15 and overheads is 0.10. Therefore, what is the cost that you are incurring? Total cost 2,500 into the cost per unit will give you what is the total cost. So to convert the opening work in progress into finished goods, you have incurred material cost 544.12, labor 766.67, and overheads 516.67. So this has been converted. So first you had already incurred 3,300 in the past. And during this particular accounting year, materials, you have incurred 544.12, labor 766.67, overheads 516.67. Okay, so the total cost is only for the 10,000 units, that is work in progress to get it completed and all. The cost is 5,127.45. Now, what about the goods that you have introduced, the unit that you have introduced and completed? Okay, that is 20,000, because you see what is introduced and completed, 20,000 with respect to materials, labor, and overheads. So 20,000 into the total. What is the total? Instead of writing material 0.22, 20,000 into 0.22, again labor 20,000 into 0.15, again 20,000 into 0.10, and then multiplying it, you can take 20,000 into 0.47, because they are the units introduced in this particular period and also completed in this particular period, fully completed. Okay, so this is 20,000 into 0.47. This is the value of inventory which are introduced, processed, and transferred to the next process. Okay, so this will give you the value, total value. So opening work in progress, which is already completed, and during the year you have introduced and you passed it on to the next process. So the total value is, you add all these, you get 14,613.73. But you also have closing in work in progress. So how do you value closing work in progress? Material, what is equivalent production statement? You must see closing work in progress. Material is 20,000 complete, whereas labor it's 5,000 and overheads it is 5,000. Now, previously for finished goods, I took only 20,000. I took the total, but here I'm taking separately because Equivalent production, material, labor, and overheads all put together, all same only 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. That's why instead of multiplying 20,000 into 0.22, 20,000 into 0.15, and 20,000 into 0.10, I'm saying 20,000 into the total. Whereas here you have to take what is the material. Material per unit is how much? 0.22. Labor is how much? It is 0.15. And overheads, how much? It is 0.10. And then you multiply it, you will get the value of your closing work in progress. Now it becomes very simple to prepare your process account. So process account, how do you prepare? Your opening stock, you had 10,000 units. The value of your opening stock was 3,300. Correct? Materials that you have introduced during this particular period, they have given us 30,000, 30, I think, units introduced. Introduced is 40,000. And what is the value? Value of material, you can take it 9,250. Labor, how much you have incurred? It is 4,600. And overheads, how much did you incur? It is 3,100. So this is your total. Now, value of finished goods. That means how many units you have completed and transferred to the next process. You know it is 30,000. During the period, 30,000 units were completed. That is work in progress we have completed. And then from the units that you have introduced during the period, 20,000 you have completed and transferred to the next process. So 30,000 is the total that you have completed. And what is the value? The value, we have it here. This is the value, 14,613.73. Now, what about the closing work in progress? It's 20,000. 20,000 is the closing work in progress. And what is its value? Its value is 5,636.27. Now you need to check whether the process account is tallying on both sides. Yes, on both sides it is tallying. So this is how you prepare under first in, first out method. Now the same problem, you also have to work it out under weighted average method. So weighted average method, how do you do? Weighted average method, how do we do? So first we will prepare one statement, statement of equivalent production. So statement of equivalent production, how do we prepare for weighted average? We will see. So we are going doing the second part of the question. So weighted average, first is statement of equivalent production. So we will see this is the statement of equivalent production. Input, you know, the total input is 50. So you see opening work in progress. Please remember this is weighted average. So what we do is you find out what is the total cost divided by the total number of units. Total number of units, weighted average. Total cost divided by the total number of units. That is weighted average. So you would have learned it in costing in your lower class. First in, first out method, last in, first out method, simple average, and weighted average. So weighted average, you take the total cost divided by the total number of units. So here we have opening stock 10,000. 10,000. So this is your opening work in progress. So 10,000 units, I will be taking it here. 10,000. And introduced and completed during the year is 30,000. Is 20,000 because total should become 30,000. And the unit number of units which are in work in progress will be 20,000. So your input and the output tallies. So this is 50. This is also 50,000. Now, one important thing you should remember, you should see what is completed. Completed is 30,000 units. So under weighted average, what we will be doing is percentage of completion. This is fully completed. So you take 100% fully completed. This is also fully completed. So 10,000, here also 10,000, here also 10,000. This is 20, 20,000 and 20,000. So altogether, 30,000 units you have completed. Now remember, in the previous first in, first out, we took what is to be completed, what is pending, what is completed in this particular period we used to do. But here it's not that, because it is weighted average. You have to find the total cost divided by the total number of units. So you are completed 30,000 units. So the entire 30,000, we are taking it 100% under weighted average. Whereas closing inventory, we know it is 100%, 25 and 25. So this is 100%. This is 25% and this is also 25%. So what do you get here? 20. This is 5,000 and this is also 5,000. Okay. And then find out what is the total. What is the total? You have to calculate. So this is the total that we have got. Statement of equivalent production is done under weighted average method. So when you are finding out the statement of cost, how do? You have to take the total cost. Remember, weighted average, I said total cost divided by the total number of units. So material, this is what you have incurred in this particular period. You should also add this cost, which is 2,250. So it is, what is the total cost? Total cost is 2,250 plus 9,250. This is the total material cost. Similarly, what is the labor cost? It is 650 plus 4,600. So add both. It is 650 plus 4,600. Similarly, what is your overheads? Overheads 400 plus 3,100. So add. It is 3,500. And what is your equivalent production? Go to the statement of equivalent production and see what is the equivalent units of material produced. What is the equivalent labor units? And here, what is the equivalent production for overheads? So I have taken the equivalent production or equivalent units. Now, how do I find the cost per unit? So the cost per unit is the total cost divided by the total number of units. So this is the cost per unit. So cost per unit is material 0.23, labor 0.15, and overheads 0.10. So the total is 0.48. So now what happens? You have to find out what is the value of finished goods. That is goods which is transferred to the next process. 30,000 units you have completed and transferred to the next process. And the total cost per unit is 0.48. So you multiply 30,000 into 0.48, you get this value. Whereas work in progress, material, how much? How much is the material? Material is 20. Labor equivalent production is 5,000. And overheads equivalent production is 5,000. So now, because it's not 20, 20, 20, so you can't take the total, you have to calculate separately. So 20,000, what is material per unit is 0.23, labor 0.15, and overheads, it is 0.1. So how do we calculate the total? It is 20,000 into 0.23 4,600. You multiply and you add it up. So this will give you the value of closing stock. Value of closing stock under under weighted average method. So now how do we prepare the process account? So first one, opening work in progress. You know there are 10,000 units. And what is its value? 3,300. Materials you have introduced. How many units? 40,000 units. And the value of material is 9,250. Labor is 4,600. And overheads 3,100. Therefore, the total is 20,250. So what is completed and transferred to the finished goods account? You have completed 30,000 units and its value is 14,400. What is completed and transferred to the next process is 14,400. Work in progress, you have, I think, 20,000 units. And what is its value? Its value you have computed here, 5,850. Therefore, your total on both sides, the process account, units, and value column should tally. So this is how you prepare statement of equivalent production and how you compute the statement of cost per unit, and then evaluation of your inventory, closing stock, work in progress and all, and to prepare process account. I hope um, you have learned the concept of equivalent production. Thank you very much.